Also, next time, so with my co-host Steve Hadley. Steve, we're back after so many weeks back on Fins TV.
We had a triple bye week, Sammy. It feels like actually it's been a long time. I don't know, it's odd because the weeks are flying by. There's been so much going on that's impacted so many of us here in the state of Florida, some more than others. So you get caught up in that, and then you try to, just get back into the swing of things. Before you know it, 3 weeks has flown by. But the Dolphins, they've been back around for a couple weeks. I know that we missed a couple games recaps there. But it's good to be back. Looking forward to another great show with you and our outstanding crew and special guests, and do some Jeopardy fun today.
Absolutely. Almost had a triple heart bypass with all the pre-production stuff that happened before the show. But, we're going to have some fun. So on this episode, we're gonna play some Fins TV Jeopardy. We're gonna do we're gonna play around, so fun with some questions, so some trivia. We're going to hard time, so let's have some fun about it. So also on the show, Tua is back. He faces an old opponent, an old friend, an old rival in Kyler Murray and the Cardinals this week. And we're gonna talk about the game, about what Tua needs to do, to find a way to beat the Cardinals this week. It's probably gonna be a rough week. The Dolphins have a couple of rough weeks, and we're gonna start right over there. We're talking about the Cardinals game. Well, Steve, we have so many expectations about the Dolphins. The Dolphins played the worst defense in the NFL last week, but yet they could not find a way to work. They had a lead going to halftime. But they were scored in the second half. So many disappointments for this team. Again, they can't find a way to score. Turnovers, special team blunders. I don't know what to tell you, Steve. I want to know your thoughts. It's really disappointing about what Dolphins are going through right now.
Well, you bring up a great point, because it's something that the Dolphins, in entire contrast from the 2023 season, we actually had a lead. And if you look at the stats from the game, we dominated that with the exception of maybe turnovers. I think we had one more turnover than them. So it's a tale of three teams where the defense is absolutely playing. If you look at PFF, they're going to tell you, no, they're not. I think they said the Dolphins are like the 21st ranked defense or something like that. They're playing lights out. They are doing their job. But all too often, like the rest of most of the games that we've seen this season, the offense and special teams just can't get out of their own way. I'm absolutely baffled at I'll call it ineptitude. It's the ineptitude of the architect of this offense to be able to do the things that he wants, that we want him to do. I'm sure that he wants to do. He wants to move the ball. You can't deny the fact we're playing with scraps for quarterbacks. Bottom line, that's what we have right now. And then you go up to the person went out there and bought the pieces for the architect to play around with, and that's Chris Greer, and you've got to blame him. But I can't wrap my head around it, but I admit, Sammy, that I've really stepped myself back from the fanatical ledge this season after the Bills game. I'm not exaggerating. It took me 10, 14 solid days to just finally get over the letdown of not only the Tua injury, but the lack of anything on offense. And so I've been able to start to enjoy the games a little bit more for the environment, the people around me and type stuff, but it doesn't take away from the frustration that what the hell is going on. And I don't have any answers. I'm not sure what's up, but yeah.
It's really frustrating because, I'll be the one to admit I've been a huge supporter of Chris Weir, but it's complex because you can't deny that the problem is the construction of the team. The team is not well constructed. It's missing so many. and everybody wanted to blame it on the offensive line. It's not just the offensive line. That's just a part of it. But the whole team is not well constructed. They took decisions. They gambled on Tua not getting hurt the whole year, and they not back and not needed. That was a huge mistake. And Mike McDaniel, I've always been critical of Mike McDaniel. I'd be criticized for that, but I hope he finds a way to come out of whatever this team going through. But the fact is that Mike McDaniel needs to be stopped. He needs to be saved from himself, and Chris Greer is not going to be the one who do it. Chris Greer is an enabler. He's an enabler, and that's why I don't not believe the Dolphins should go and fire Mike McDaniel after the season, but. They probably should move on for Chris Greer because if you're gonna believe that Mike McDaniel is the answer as a coach, someone has to stop someone has to stop Mike McDaniel. It's not gonna be Chris Greer. Chris Greer is an enabler. He's gonna do whatever Mike McDaniel wants. He's gonna get the players Mike McDaniel wants, and that's not gonna fix the team. So if you don't want to fire Mike McDaniel, you have to fire Chris Greer. There's no way.
I'm not going. 100%. I'm not going to say that a zebra being the head coach cannot change his stripes. We've seen head coaches fail and then come back in a second opportunity and succeed because maybe they matured, they learned their lessons. I don't know, and maybe I'll rely upon the Dolphins guru here and person who eats, sleeps, breathes, and drinks this, Jason Sarney, when he joined.
The hardest working man in Dolphins Nation, Jason Sarney.
Let me tell you. There you go, the voiceover. But to let me know if there's ever been an example of a head coach turning on a dime, and I just have flashes of Adam Gase. Adam Gase, I just waited for so long to see him have that light bulb go on and be like, I am not doing this the correct way. There is something wrong. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm being introspective, so I'm going to change. I don't think that happens. And it's very... It's unfortunate to have to say, hey, they're probably going to have to move on from this if he can't change. But he has all the tools. But I tell you right now, the discipline and drive on this team. And I'm not going to say that I go to my office. I don't work with a single person from my team, so I never laugh face-to-face with people, maybe over Zoom or something like that. But I'm not saying that they can't have a good time. But if every single fan of your team around the globe is miserable and pissed off at what is going on right now, it is extremely bad optics for you to be standing over on the sideline and yucking it up with $30 million worth of wide receivers. They got 2 catches in that game.
Armando Salgado put it so well. There comes a time where you need to be serious. And the Dolphins, 2 years under Mike McDaniel, even the players are not serious. Last year, I criticized so much about, so much dancing and celebrating, just a touchdown when you're 20 points behind. For me, it was nonsense. But now, when you're losing, those kinds of things are magnified. It's just horrendous. I saw someone said that the point where Mike McDaniel probably his failure started to show up was when he said that they were gonna start the meeting 24 minutes after every single hour. And it's completely right. When you're winning, that's all good and dandy. But when you're losing, you're reminded of 24 years of Dolphins not making not winning a playoff game every single meeting, every single day. That's
it's a gimmick.
Immature.
It's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, and it's really annoying. And I think that the guy, I said before, I got cross-eyed so many times. I truly believe that Mike McDaniel is a great play designer. He's also not a great play caller. His game plans sometimes are just horrendous. He abandons the run. He has a held hand and he goes away with it over and over again. It's really bothers me that the team so talented, wrongly constructed. I give you that. It's wrongly constructed. You can have all the talent in the world. I have to say that now. The Dolphins have 6 of the best 100 players in the league. And that's not enough. If the team is not well constructed, you're not going to go ahead. So
correct. 100%.
That's on me. But without further ado, we have a full house over here. We have the hardest working man on Dolphins Nation, Jason Sarney. Shady Hallett, a friend of the show, and the return of Mr. Perfect Man. Good evening, guys.
Hello.
Welcome, everybody.
Well, I'm gonna start with Jason. Jason, we all been very, very frustrated. Again, I'm going to start with me. My expectations were not huge this offseason, but it still is a disappointment. The Dolphins has way too much talent, but that's on me for not accepting that Chris Greer was running because of the team. As I was talking to Steve, in my opinion, someone needs to stop this, and it's not going to be Chris Greer. Chris Greer is an enabler. He's going to do whatever he thinks Mike McDaniel wants, and the results are there. But I want to know what your thoughts about what happened last Sunday against the Colts.
There was a time where I said to myself during the game, like, all right, this isn't pretty, but they're on track to win.
Mhm.
They have this game. The defense is playing well. They're running well. And then I said to myself at halftime, did Jalen Wright play at all? That was my first question, which he did not. And then in the third, he finally gets it halfway into that quarter, and he looks good. And then I said to myself, wow, I really wish we would have seen him more in the first half. Maybe he would have broken a couple of runs that might have put us in an entirely different position. And then I go back to the stat sheet, and I wanted to look for the runs because I wanted to see numerically how many rushes up the middle Achane had, and it was 6. To me, that's a lot. Up the middle with a guy who I think is better outside the hash marks. So to me, the game plan of running 40 times, that's great. But the types of runs, who got the runs, when they got them, where they got them. So you could be a good cook because you have great ingredients, but not know how to use the oven, and it doesn't come out great. And that's what I think happened. You got the parts. You just got to put them together the right way and let each part do what they're best at more consistently throughout the game. Don't overuse Raheem Mostert week 5 and even, this week was 11 carries. I get it, but I do feel that Jalen Wright should have had a little bit more time early, and Devon Achane could have been used as a third wide receiver. And I say that using the word wide receiver because the Dolphins don't have a third wide receiver. They have one guy outside of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle that's got multiple receptions this year. Think about that. We're 2-4. We're going into week 8, and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, one other wide receiver, has multiple catches for the Dolphins. That's called a WR. In that case, why not pepper an Achane who's almost better out of the backfield as a receiver than he is a through the middle runner? So I would have liked to have seen that more.
Which brings me to the point that was made. Is Mike McDaniel that great of a play designer, play caller in that role if he has not shown the ability to say, we have weaknesses, let's find a way to exploit them? Mm-hmm. Or let's find a way to throw teams off balance. That's some of the best things that you see the teams like the Chiefs do. I'm not even going to talk about the Ravens because they just pound the living hell out of you. The Chiefs catch you off balance, and you don't know where the hell it's going to go. And it's so frustrating. I'm not sure. It's confounding.
I agree. I think you got to pick your time, spots, and who you're giving it to. And I hope that improves. And I should with Tua. Because in the first game, and even the first game and a half until Tua got hurt, Achane was getting peppered with targets. He had 14 targets. He had 14 catches. What does that tell you? Throw it to him. He will catch it. The man was 14 of 14. And even going into week 6, so after Tua's injury and getting hurt in one of those games, Achane was paired with Alvin Kamara as the only 2 running backs to have over 180 rushing yards and 180 receiving yards. And then you just go away from that when your quarterback is out. How do you go away from giving a running back short passing plays when your quarterback is out, when it's easier for a quarterback to throw the ball short to a running back and let him do the work? McDaniel said, let me just take my recently concussed small and skinnier running back and run him straight up the gut a couple of times. With a guardian cap. And I think it's admirable that Achane's wearing a guardian cap, but you're going to put the guardian cap through the big men on your team and then the linebackers and the big men on the other team 6 times out of 15 rushes, and you don't really target him outside of the fourth quarter on desperation in the receiving game?
I feel like, again, he's trying to outsmart people because he had just been asked 2 weeks ago in a press conference, running in between the guards, and his answer was, we are an outside zone running team first. And then he starts the game by doing that. I don't know. I mean, Sherry, if we watched the same exact game, same exact room. I don't know. What do you think of the offense? And then, I want to talk a little bit about the other facets.
I think Mike McDaniel is like my teenage children, in which that he says, we're going to stop the pre-snap penalties. I'm sorry. We're going to stop the procedure penalties. I'm sorry. But I'm sorry week after week is a choice. It's not a mistake. So he has to make the choice to fix this. And if that means not being their best friend, then he's not going to be their best friend. If that means knocking heads, then you knock heads. But you can't keep coming into the press conference every week and say, we've got to fix those pre-snap penalties. We've got to tighten this ship. Under Don Shula, the Dolphins were the least penalized team year after year after year. He wasn't their best friend. They respected him. He was the most respected coach probably ever. And it showed on the field because they were disciplined and they were tight. They ran a very tight ship. This is Jack Sparrow running all over the place with no rhyme or reason. And I can only assume he's not running outside because he doesn't feel like our line can block for that. And that's, again, going back to Chris Greer saying, our line's fine. It's not. So we have to open holes so that Achane doesn't get knocked in his guardian cap. So it's not just the calls, but it's not coaching these guys to play to their ability and to play to their strengths. And that's got to fall on McDaniel.
And Sharon, I just want to play on that, just on the falling on McDaniel and falling on coaches. Pre-snap penalties on a coach. Knowing the time, the down, the position, time of game. I don't care if you're a third stringer or a quarterback that's watching from your couch. If it's 4th and 2 and it's either a last play or get the first down to live to play another play, you have to know that.
Like you don't break the huddle with 8 seconds.
Correct. It's almost like if a basketball team has no timeouts left. Some coach on the bench has to say, we don't have any timeouts left. So if a player calls that, the player just didn't listen or didn't choose to listen. But if the player doesn't, it's a bad example, but it's a nuance to the game where, hey, Timmy, this is it. If you have a problem, just get it, just go, just run the ball, don't throw the ball out of bounds. Because guess what? Even if a water boy caught it, the game was over.
Correct.
Matt, you are basically one of the most positive Dolphins fans I ever known. But I have to believe that even for you, this should be frustrating. I don't know if you had time. I know you had some technical difficulties in the part of Florida where you live, but I don't know how much of the game you watched or how the highlights you watched. But still, it doesn't matter. It's frustrating. The Dolphins have not performed to the level we expected. What are your thoughts? What do you think about the Dolphins?
First,
what happened on Sunday?
Real quick. First, I have a bet as to whether or not you're going to be positive, and if you lose me money, Matt, I'm going to find you. Go.
Be yourself, Matt. Just don't get intimidated. Be yourself.
Don't lose him money, Matt. He'll be in big trouble. Don't lose him money.
Good.
Wink, wink.
Can I take side action for a couple seconds?
Side action?
Or no?
Go for it.
Sarni's a degenerate gambler. I don't know any team that's ever been knocked out of the playoffs because they were 2-4. They're 2-4.
Oh, yes.
2-4. The quarterback comes back.
Oh man!
This coming weekend. If the same issues exist, if he's able to stay healthy and the same issues exist, maybe you'll get a different response from me. But what I see is a football team that has just better than me at quarterback.
That's debatable.
Yeah, maybe, but honestly, and yes, I am positive. If you've just joined us, the glass is overflowing, and I'm like that in life. But I almost sent you guys a text when they signed Huntley. I almost sent you guys a text to say Super Bowl or bust because I thought it was a great signing.
That would have been beautiful.
I thought it was, and honestly, my kid could probably do a better job at quarterback than Huntley. And that's not a shot at Huntley, but the guy's been in the role for a little over 3 weeks, maybe, in an offense that he's not really familiar with. And what do you need as a new quarterback, whether it's Boyle or Huntley or whoever? You need a
simplified playbook.
Well, you need to
Yeah,
maybe
that
a simplified
absolutely.
playbook. But there are two things, and I know Sarni's going to high five me virtually when I say it. There are two things that are a new quarterback's best friend. One of those is the running game, and they generated 188 yards behind the offensive line that everybody is worried about. The second thing is that Jonnu Smith had a pretty good game receiving, and that's because Huntley was basically tied to him by an umbilical cord. He's not dumb. That was his out. Uh, the Redskins back in the early '80s had wide receivers that were like 5'2", and they called them the Smurfs. And honestly, that's exactly what we have on either sideline. On either wideout is a couple of Smurfs. They're not going to go across the middle by design unless it's Tua throwing them the ball because of his incredible ability at timing. Huntley doesn't have that. Boyle doesn't have that. So the sky's not falling for me. They're 2-4. I've seen them come back being down 3-8, 3-7, or whatever, and rip off a bunch of wins. If I lost you money, man, don't the lessons don't bet. That's on you.
I agree with that.
Lesson learned.
No. How's your bet, Steve?
If we're keeping score at home, I put money on positivity. So I'm
I knew what he was going to be. I don't bet money. I don't. I'm way too conservative when it comes to that type of stuff.
What did you bet?
No, I'm kidding. I was totally kidding. I don't know if I really wanted to be cool. I'd turn my visor on backward and tell my friend Todd that he needed to turn in because one of his biggest pet peeves in life is somebody wearing a visor backward.
Yeah,
Now
that's
you just look like a rube. Now you just look like a rube.
Steve, are you sure Matt wants to talk about some bets? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Oh, speaking of bets, Matt. Special delivery. Please tell me that they didn't go to total waste.
No, they didn't. They made it. The little gift and everything. They were perfect. They were absolutely perfect.
By the way, they would be very hot jalapenos, homegrown in a hydroponic garden.
I love it, and the gift was incredibly appreciated. When it came in, there was pure chaos going on over here. So
I bet.
So. But speaking of that bet, I made a kind of a joke about me being able to do better than Huntley at quarterback. I think I could do just as well as what's his name could do at wide receiver. Like,
for sure.
Is he still on the team? I've been without internet for like 10 days. So is he still on the team? What's that guy's name?
I do, Matt. To be fair, I do think that. Okay.
You don't know his team either.
OBJ. So many things going through my mind right now with this that, first of all, I just have to believe that they are not practicing hard enough and seriously enough to really, truly show up on Sundays the way that we would hope that they would. That's one thing. Two, I don't see him out there running the crisp routes that I would expect a veteran of his caliber to be out there running. Third point on this is I do expect to see him involved much more when Tua is back on the field. Because frankly, the inaccuracy of the quarterbacks that we've had, all three of them in Tua's absence, they're wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, there was a practice ball that landed in my front yard. Apparently, Boyle threw it yesterday.
He has a strong arm. I wish we could cultivate that.
I agree. He's got a great, strong arm. It's not accurate at all. But I want to touch on what you just said, Steve. I think there's a lot of legitimacy to what you just said and what Sherry said a little bit ago as far as the discipline. And maybe that's a Miami thing. Maybe that's a South Florida thing. I've got this theory that the athletes, and I'm not just talking about NFL athletes. I'm talking about.
You might know it wrong. Mm-hmm.
I think they get down here, and it's a different world. And if you don't have the leadership, I'm not dumping on him, but I think there's some validity to what you guys are saying in terms of discipline, especially.
The Florida Panthers would like a word.
You know what? Absolutely, that's a great point.
The Russians are built differently, Shari. The
Yeah, but
Russians
the
are built
difference is they literally play on ice, and most of those guys came from an icy world. I'm corrected that, and go Panthers. But I did see OBJ. The ball kind of hit him in the hands, and like
Gator armed it.
man, like hit him in the wrong place. Like, is that guy even a shell of the guy he was before? I don't know. Let's see what Tua does.
Absolutely. Jason, let us talk some of the Colts game before we go to Fins TV Jeopardy.
Really enjoyed the defense and them keeping the team in it. I really wanted to see creativity from a defensive play calling standpoint, and we got that in the Jalen Ramsey blitzing. And that's literally exactly what I wanted from Weaver. So, like, triple check off the board there. And it reminds me of one of my favorite football movies ever, The Program.
Please
When
be the replacement.
I love the program.
Top 10, 1,000%, Shari, 1,000%. But for me, for like a lot of fun football stuff, it still resonates now when you look at certain teams. And there was a part where, Joe Kane, their Heisman quarterback, was out. And they had some schmuck backup who ended up getting kicked off the team, and then I'm back to the team, whatever. And then the defense in the locker room saying, man, we're going to have to pitch shutouts until Kane gets back. And hello, that's exactly what this defense has been basically doing. Here we are. So now you get Tua back. Forget the Colts game. It's over. If the defense can stay the same, and they're doing that without last game without Holland, without JP, without Agba. So you put the defense and this Tua return together, and Matt's shaking his head like he's ready to roll off 9 in a row. And I'm not. Let's go. Tua comes back. McDaniel fixed the issues, because I do think Weaver, I give him an A, not an A plus, not an A minus, because I don't want to give him a plus because the rushing needs to get tightened up. But why the heck would I put a minus behind anything that this man is doing?
And we're going to talk about this after Jeopardy, but it's going to be a good test when they face Kyler Murray in our next game, because that's going to be a completely different ball game. So they're going to have to plan for somebody that's completely different from what they've seen the last few weeks. But we're going to discuss that in a little bit.
20 seconds more on that, just to pull on that thread for a quick second. Any quarterback like Kyler Murray could beat any NFL team with their legs at any given Sunday. But what we don't see often is a defensive coordinator, maybe Mike Tomlin, who could be like, all right, I know what you're doing, but I got you. I got you. So until that happens, and hopefully it can happen with Kyler Murray, where he even is stumped. 20 yards on the ground for Kyler Murray is a godsend. But as long as they're not 3 first downs, when you divide that up. So time and a place, that's the most important thing.
100%.
Absolutely. Steve, any last thoughts?
No, man, I'm looking forward to getting in some Fins TV Jeopardy.
Well, without further ado, let's play some Fins TV Jeopardy.
This is Fins TV Jeopardy! Let's meet our contestant from Southampton, Pennsylvania, the hardest working man in Dolphins, Jason Sarni. From Palm Harbor, Florida, representing the Hallett family, Shari Hallett. Our defending Fins TV Jeopardy champion. From Port St. Lucie, Mr. Perfect, Matt Armstrong. And now, here's the host of Fins TV Jeopardy, Fins Terry.
Well, welcome to Fins TV Jeopardy. Can you guys hear me right?
Yes.
Here you
Awesome.
I like the wardrobe change.
See, there
I
you
am
go.
underdressed.
Uh,
The set's fantastic. I love it. The budgets are up here. I love it.
see, the budget is up, absolutely. So, without further ado, let's play SoFi TV Jeopardy. It's gonna be pretty simple. Pretty simple. It's basically the same categories as last year. Our defending champion Matt Armstrong is back to play the game this year, and it's gonna be simple. We're gonna play as a goal. So a player can either answer the question or pass it to the other player. That player needs to answer the question, or pass it to the final player if he wants. That player must answer no matter what. We'll play that simple. So let's go to the categories. Potables. No, I don't know how I was doing there. That's a son of Jeopardy. That's not it. Super Bowl records, rivals from Greasy to Tua, and honor roll. So, absolutely. So first, we did some roulette, so to pick who's the first player to go. The order is gonna be, we're gonna start with Jason starting first, Shari Hallett second, and our defending Jeopardy champion, Marastro at third. Let me see if the board is over here, and let's do some magic over here. Okay, here's the Have to.
Hurry.
Can you put the thing
I'll
back?
sure.
We'll go with rivals for 200.
Rivals for 200. There you go. Rivals for 200. Records for 200.
$1984.
And
Of the song.
Really?
Yes,
wow,
we
that's
can
awesome.
make this happen. We can make something happen.
Oh my God! Yes.
I love
I'm gonna
it.
say I'm sorry.
Love
We can
it.
do it.
Yes.
We can do
Woohoo!
it. It's like the Jewish geography of ultimate geography. Just sorry for the segue, but we can make something happen here.
Let's do
That'll,
it.
that'll be awesome.
Shout out to
I
my mom.
I give you the bonus share, right? You had 600.
I did.
Okay, now you have 1,000. So
Thank
it's your turn. I'm sorry,
yeah.
Matt. It's your turn. Matt, can you hear me?
He
Not
needs
on
to.
my this category says from Greasy to Tua, which implies that it's all quarterbacks.
It's a timeline question. It's not a quarterback question.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, got it.
That's important because I'm not gonna spoil it, but like
I know I know exactly who it is. Deion Jordan. Who is Deion Jordan?
kidding. And I threw the remote,
yeah.
and I'm that bad of a pitcher that it hit the left upper corner of the Samsung. Crickety crack, Deion Jordan. Thank you, Miami.
And
Wasn't
they
even a
were at
strike.
11. They were at pick 11. He was picked in draft position
3.
8.
I thought it was 3.
Yeah, it was 3, right? It was 3.
Yes.
3.
It was 3, and I wanted Tavon Austin that draft, so I would have sucked too. So it happens.
Horrible.
Dolphins costing me money.
But you're doing
Gray
good.
hair didn't.
I'm going to pass to Jason.
Jason, it's your turn.
Okay, so I have a thought process in this, in that when you take a test and it's multiple choice, the person who wrote it is going to try to throw something in there to say, this one is definitely not it, this one, but there's two that are very similar, so the Dakotas stand out to me. I don't know the answer to this, but I'm going to say South Dakota.
and the answer is South Dakota.
Steve is your Lusaka polite.
Yeah,
Never lost.
I like that.
Never lost.
I like it.
Oh man, that was so good.
Steve, I owe you a beer.
I'll take it.
Let's go back to the board. Sherry, it's your turn.
Now,
Let me
I
put the
did
board.
What is the Denver Broncos?
And let me pull the board again.
At least one.
That's probably right. So I'm not gonna push that by you. I don't remember right now, but I don't think you missed many. So okay, uh, um, it's your boy Jason.
Okay.
Let me put the board. I'm sorry. Let me put the board.
No, you're good. You're good.
It-
Nick, who is Nick Bonacani?
and the answer.
In a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Sarni got it. Yeah.
Of course he does. Who is probably have the totally wrong timeline, but let's say who is Roger Staubach?
And the answer
Uh.
is Joe Montana.
He
Oh.
smokes. He smokes. He smokes.
Camel man, Joe Camel,
Montana.
Joe.
Why did you just say 49ers quarterback?
Tom Cruise.
Phenomenal reference. Amazing Office reference.
Oh man.
That's phenomenal.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and I just had a moment where I was going to blurt the answer out or my answer out, and then right at the last second, my brain said, "Don't forget this team," and now I
Pick a team that he says isn't even an NFL team. That's not fair.
I was expecting for him to miss that question because I was this close to give me the hint, but I thought he doesn't need it.
No.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. So it's your turn, Jason. Here's the board.
Let's go.
About it, I probably you've seen so many Elite 11 or documentaries of Tua and everything, and that documentary of Tua probably you've seen that before. So think of the jersey. What did the jersey say?
I'm gonna be straight. I really don't know. So Honolulu High. I really don't know.
I like it. That should be.
Right.
Yeah.
The answer is the St. Louis High Crusaders, but whatever. Whatever.
Wow.
Oh man. Oh man. It's your turn, man. Here's the board.
Oh.
He was more of a commander than a cowboy. That was in Super Bowl 19.
Otis wants to answer.
Yeah.
Otis is my lifeline. So this actor did the coin flip, Super Bowl 19.
Yes.
However, he was more.
He was a former actor at the time.
He was a former actor.
At the time, yes, he's former actor. At the time, he was the former actor.
Okay, did he become an actor after that? Like,
no, he was a.
Hey, this isn't clues.
Leave it as it is.
But I feel guilty. I feel guilty because he's saying that the question is wrong.
You're saying this guy's saying I'm going to put this board to sleep, and you're sitting here like,
I got it. I hope you pass it.
Steve, can you see my name?
Jeopardy champion.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's gonna get it.
I'm gonna pass this to
Oh, he's
Sherry.
got it now. Oh.
Yeah, you're on screen. You can do it now. Matt, you can please go ahead.
I need you to say you need me.
You got to put some bang into it.
Hang on, wait. Let me get this. All right, go ahead.
Matt, go ahead.
Being recorded.
For the record, I admitted that I hated doing this.
Yes.
Steve, I need your help.
There it is.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
Okay.
wow.
All right. Good to see you.
That's historic. Wow.
Well, I really needed to hear you say it. I'm not 100% sure, but I am.
Chad.
He had a cannon though when needed. It just wasn't
He
accurate.
did have a
Oh no,
Cannon.
who's more accurate, Chad Henne or Tim Boyle?
Chad Henne. Who is Chad Henne?
This is what we see, and there you go. And
The generosity.
it's your turn, Jason.
Okay, let's go with record for 800, please.
I just say 100. He's the only 1,000 yard rusher Dan Marino ever had on the team.
Who is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
God.
And the answer is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm pretty sure whatever if Eddie's watching, he's gonna be kicking himself, and he's gonna kick me because I had the wrong answer on the board last year. So
I was going to answer.
That's like my prime year of life. I got my license. I'm delivering pizzas. I'm making money.
For the record,
great.
that answer is incorrect. He played a game with his name spelled Abdul Jabbar. So which one did you mean?
I meant the one that went to UCLA and they traded to Cleveland like 2 weeks into the next year.
Yep, that's him.
Absolutely.
Should have been Cecil Collins.
It's your turn. It's your turn, Sherry.
Honor roll for 800, please.
Honor roll 800. Okay. He was the first Dolphins member to be elected in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's a great question.
Okay, first Dolphins member to be elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I'm going to have to go back because it can't be who I'm thinking.
You know who this is.
Yeah.
I'm sure I know who it is. And I probably at some point knew the answer to this question without thinking about it. You know how many times I've slept since then? I'm going to pass to Matt, since Matt, you seem to know.
Matt.
At least we can gang up on Sarni.
Oh, man. He was the first Dolphins member to be elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Who is Joe Robbie?
And the answer is Paul Warfield.
Wow. I thought that.
Let me do some.
Did you think the same thing, Steve?
Yes, sir.
I really did.
The way he said Dolphins member, not player.
Yes.
That was the trick.
Okay, Jason, it's your board.
Can I stop the count?
Yeah.
Stop the count!
Stop the count! Anybody need anything in the house? Now's the time. All right, I'm gonna stick this through here. All right, so what do I got left on the board? I got a couple.
You got from Gillette to 1,000 and honor roll for 1,000. It's a 2,600 game to a 1,800 game for bats.
Let's roll with the honor roll for 1,000.
Wow.
This will be for the game.
Oh boy.
He holds the record for most consecutive Dolphins Pro Bowl appearances with 7.
That's my guy. I think it's Richmond Webb.
And the answer is Richmond Webb.
Let's go! Let's go!
Only one answer on the board, and it's for Sherry. Sherry.
I'm listening.
It's your
I was
board.
on mute.
I'm sorry, it's your board.
Let's see. My choices are very, very plentiful, but I will go from Greasy to Tua for 1,000, please.
Greasy to Tua for 1,000. Finishing second in the MVP poll in 1972, this quarterback retired as a Miami Dolphin in 1976 after a 21-year career that expanded to 6 teams.
All right.
One of my favorite players ever.
Really?
Yes.
I'm going to say...
I just like the guy. I think it was great. He had a great career.
Okay.
He embodied everything that should be great about a person.
Let's try Earl Morrall.
And the answer is Earl Morrall.
I finished in the positive!
That puts you in the positive with 100. And we have a new Jeopardy! Fizz TV Jeopardy champion!
Congratulations!
What a comeback for Jason Sardi! Jason.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That was rough. Matt, you put a hell of a fight. You took a gamble. What can I say? You've been a great champion, but we have a new champion. Next year we might have to do a rematch for Fizz TV Jeopardy.
I would like to take the opportunity now to retire from Finn.
Like Bart Simpson.
It's been such a good run.
Like Bart Simpson. Well, we're running late, so I hope you guys have fun. It's all about fun, We have went through a couple of rough weeks, so that's so fun. So let me put the music over here. There you go. Well, next we're gonna go to our feature segment of the week. The Dolphins play the Cardinals in the return of Tua Tagovailoa.
That's another Miami Dolphins. First and 10 from the 45-yard line.
What else can you tell us about the steps that need to happen for Tua to even think about?
Well, Matt, he's got to clear through concussion protocol this week, which he hasn't done. That's part of the NFL's mandated rules. Now, everything that Tua Tagovailoa has heard up until now is that he has not heard anything that would dissuade him from wanting to play. That remains the goal. He's met with neurologists. And it's a situation where they've given him all the information. He has all the answers right now. And right now, Tua Tagovailoa wants to continue playing football. He's going to start practicing this week, middle of the week. The team is designating him to return from injury reserve. As we said, he still has to clear through protocol. But if and when he does all that, he is tracking to play Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals at a time when a lot of people wondered whether we'd ever see Tua play football again. He's going to play football.
Yeah, so I talked to someone in Miami, and they said that Tua Tagovailoa underwent extensive testing, both emotionally, physically. Obviously, every scan you could possibly do to say that he was fit to return to the football field. And not one doctor, not one medical professional told him he should consider retiring. Not one person said that that is what Tua Tagovailoa should do going forward. And also part of it was they could not promise that it was 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. There's no information going forward that they could predict what would happen to Tua Tagovailoa, whether it would affect him going forward or not. But I want to say it again. Not one medical professional told Tua Tagovailoa to consider retiring.
Hey, I'm frustrated, but this is what it is. Do I want to be, known for this? No, I don't. But that's the cards I've been dealt with, given the history of it. So it is what it is. I just think it's based off of whatever that individual feels. If you feel like you can go, you can go. I just think this is only becoming a thing just because of what ended up happening 2 years ago for myself within the sport. I hate that it's happened, but we don't look at boxers the same way. We don't look at hockey players the same way. But I just think because of what happened and the magnitude that had, that it's becoming more of an issue here in the league. I appreciate your concern. I really do. I love this game, and I love it to the death of me. That's it. For me, this is what I love to do. This is what makes me happy, and I'm going to do it. That's it.
Well, Tua is back. That press conference felt rough. He sounded defiant. He was kind of mad. He was salty. Of course, the fact he's the poster boy for concussions is kind of it's kind of absurd. I feel bad for Tua in that regard. Let me do some may over here. Let me put back Steve on the. That's my mistake. That happens when you. That happens when you have to do something
with a frowny face.
Yeah, that's on me. That's happened when you have to do like 1,000 changes before, just a couple minutes before. Still gonna go to you. Tua, like I was saying, this sounded defiant. He was kind of mad. He was kind of pissed off. He was salty. The fact that he's been called basically now the poster boy for concussions, and like he said, he's been treated differently to every other single athlete who's had the concussion. We all saw Josh Allen had a concussion, and nobody gave a crap about he was concussed or not. So one of those thoughts of the game against the Cardinals. We're gonna move this ahead very quickly. And your thoughts on the whole thing of Tua coming back?
I'm excited to see him back because he's excited to be back, and as a fan, I'm looking forward to it. I do have the human side of me of really truly hoping nothing bad happens. It's so weird that he went 17 games last season plus a playoff game, falling the right way, sliding, doing things the right way, and it's almost as if he, in that moment, that muscle memory, that rubber band just kind of retracted back to who Tua always is, and that's just somebody who didn't slide at that moment. So in terms of his attitude, I don't blame him. They said the day after the concussion, the Bills game, he didn't have a single symptom. And he was just kind of like, okay, well, I got to go sit 4 weeks out now, sit on the bench, still travel, 3,500 miles or however far it is from Miami to Seattle to sit on the sidelines and just do all these different things. Meanwhile, everybody's just sitting there talking about him. This is his first chance to really sit in front of the camera and speak his mind. He's a competitor. In the Rich Eisen loves to call it salty Tua. I don't mind it at all. And I'll save any type of prediction for what he's going to say because I want to give the other members here an opportunity to talk. But I have no problem with it at all. I just hope he's channeling that in the right way, and he does. I think he's going to. So it's good to see him back in front of the podium. I know that he is chomping at the bit to get back out there.
May I address this to Steve first, please?
Please go ahead.
As was once said on this show, I love you, honey, but I disagree with you. Here's my take on it. I understand that he's saying he felt fine the next day. There is physiology going on in your brain with a concussion. Just because you don't feel something doesn't mean it isn't happening. That's why after a concussion, you're not supposed to be looking at lights. You're not supposed to be watching TV. You're not supposed to be. There are certain things you aren't supposed to do because even if you think you're fine, and I'm not saying that he wasn't fine, but even because the doctors have cleared him, but I'm saying is just using I felt fine the next day as an answer isn't the right answer because you have to understand that there's more going on than what you feel or what is seen up front. I don't understand. I don't like the salty because too many millions and millions of people watched this man on the field with the physiological, the heartbreaking, hard to watch. It's in everybody's vision. It's in everybody's mind. It didn't happen behind the scenes. It didn't happen without eyes upon it. So clearly everyone's going to be talking about it because it's a big deal. It's scary. It's scary to see. Oh, look, you don't want to be the poster child for concussions, but
everybody gets
over and over.
Okay, no, but it's not fair because he is the only quarterback that gets called out on this. Josh Allen went to sleep on the field 2 weeks ago, and not one person, everybody gave him a pass when he said, I hurt my ankle. Bullshit.
I don't agree with that either, and I think they should be...
Okay, then it needs to be an even amount of coverage.
Also, it's the same thing that you say, like, if Patrick Mahomes gets breathed on, he's going to get a personal foul. It's not fair. It isn't right, but that's the way it goes. If Josh Allen's hands cramped up and he did the defensive... I think we'd be looking at a different story from that game. Not overall, but from that game. I think that he has to maybe for me it's a maturity thing, and just say, look, I understand. Everybody saw this and they're worried for me. Not saying that he can make. I believe in 100%. It's his personal choice. It's his body. It's his choice. But it is his choice. I may not agree with it. I may not like what he says or how he says it about it, and I may see it a different way as a mother, as a wife. I understand it's his call, but I don't want to see Salty Tua go out there and try to prove a point. I want him to protect himself. I want him to go back, like you said, go back to the things he did last year that prevented this from happening. I don't want him to go out there and say, no, I'm Superman. You all are worried about nothing. Look at how I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to be in tears or in a game watching the leader of the team of my heart have some catastrophic injury. I just want to make sure that he's being realistic and he understands that this is serious, and just because he felt fine the next day doesn't mean he was fine. And he still has to do what he can to protect himself. I think he should be wearing the Guardian cap. It's not my body, it's not my choice, but I think he should be wearing the Guardian cap. If they have these things that are out there to protect situations like that, I think you take advantage of these things that are going to help you reduce the chance of that happening again, so people will stop talking about you as the poster child for concussions. Do what you have to do to make it not happen again.
Fantastic points. What I heard there is you're mature and I'm not. So, okay.
This
Matt,
is news?
I don't know. What'd you hear there?
This is news?
Matt, before I go to Jason, I'm going to do to you. Again, we can have differences. It's very frustrating. We certainly would have to talk another time about the repercussions about Tua's concussions for this franchise for the next years to come. Because as far as I see it, we're going to go from this moment forward. We're going to say the next concussion, there goes the season, because the Dolphins are not going to survive, no matter who's the quarterback. The next concussion, because this time was 4 games. The next time is going to be more than 4. Going to be a season, going to be 8 games. Matt Lemieux went out for years, and he's going to be collecting that contract no matter what. And no criticism for that. That's the reality of it. So we're going to talk about the consequences of Tua's reality of concussions so another time. So for what Tua is saying is correct no matter what. If you ask me, he's been treated unfair. Like the media spotlight is all over him. He's now the poster boy for concussions. But I want to know your thoughts about the whole concussion thing and Tua coming back and the Cardinals game going forward. Matt.
Yeah, Sherry, what should I say here? I want to make sure I say the right thing.
You say no, I'm not going to criticize you. You're entitled. I have my opinion. I'm entitled. You are entitled to your opinion.
I'm scared for Steve. So
he doesn't want to hurt my feelings, but I also know that as an aged senior citizen, he can often say things that he doesn't think about.
Well, so now, Matt, now I know what you should say, and it isn't nice.
Good, Matt.
Shots fired. I'm just sitting here minding my own business. I didn't win Jeopardy this year. That's a first. I'm calm, cool, collected, and I just caught a stray. So I've said this in the past. The Salty Tua thing is kind of cool, but I feel like it's messaging is something that he needs to work on. And I don't know if he does whatever he wants, if he says whatever he wants to say when he gets up there to the podium. I don't know if he starts feeling his oats when he's up there and he decides, he's got the reporters that are he reads everybody's articles. Make no mistake, that guy reads everything. So I feel like he would benefit himself and the organization a great deal by saying as little as possible. And what I mean by that is you watch that clip and it could have very easily been, really glad to be back with my teammates. It was tough watching us struggle, but I'm back, I'm cleared, I'm ready to go. And that's it. The Salty Tua stuff comes out and dude, you don't have to prove yourself to us. Your next shot is probably your last one. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
the next one, it's most likely it for you. As far as this club is concerned, the Dolphins would be very, very negligent to allow it to continue keep putting him back out there at what cost? And Sherry kind of alluded to it when she was yelling at Steve when she said, "I don't want something bad to happen." To one of our favorite players out there on the field. At the same time, there is an absolute hypocrisy in this league. They've got WWE refs running the show out there, and there's no way in the world that Teddy Bridgewater had a concussion and Josh Allen didn't. I'll stand at the top of the hill all by myself and yell that till the cows come home. There's no way. There is a double standard. And I'm not saying there's a double standard against Tua. I'm saying there's a double standard, period. It's whoever they feel like is the guy this week. To Sherry's point, you're absolutely right about what the symptoms can be. There's stuff that's happening that you don't know about. I've had a concussion. My son has had two. And those symptoms are very real. They're the things that they talk to you about in an effort to make sure that your healing process is clear. What I want to know about is, how did you fly to Seattle having just sustained a concussion? I'm not saying that you didn't. I'm simply saying that's like the last thing that any doctor would approve for you to do if it was worth getting benched for 4 weeks.
The longest trip in the NFL, and he made that the other way. Sherry made some great points. I wholeheartedly agree with everything she said. It's a tough spot for Tua, but of course, what Steve's saying is also correct. This is really complicated. Steve, Jason, your mic is muted. But
real quick, I want to say, and I want to bring it to Jason, but it wasn't until you said it, Matt, that it really kind of hit me. I feel like and I said it myself when I started, salty Tua. We've seen Tua be meek behind the mic and not as confident. We've seen him cocky with what I agree seemed kind of like it was manufactured, like he planned it ahead. And I didn't get the same feeling. And Jason, I'm curious because I didn't watch his press conference. I really should have, but because I'm curious, did he open the press conference a certain way? Was it multiple questions that came to him that finally he was just like, you know what, here, I'm going to speak my mind. I don't know how it went, but do you think that there was a difference between what I think was kind of like the artificial salty, confident, cocky, and what this one was? Because I think that I get the feeling of the clips I did see that it was a little bit different. You're muted, buddy.
You're muted. You're putting a Steve, Jason.
Damn it! Almost perfect. He was straight up salty, and the way that he spoke was, I don't want to use the word defiant. I would definitely use the word, angry at the situation, because I don't know that he should have been IR'd with all the information now and flying to Seattle and those optics that we speak about. There's a lot to unpack with this whole thing, but I'm going to reference some things and why I think he's salty and why I think he kind of said certain of the things that he said, like football injuries, there's risk to it. Everyone, you risk every day. You get up in the car, you can get into a car accident, whatever. Like, this is a tough game. This is a game where anybody can get concussed. Anybody could break a bone. Anybody could do anything at any given Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whatever the game is. We grew up, we're all a little bit different here, but we all saw the era of 90s and before, where people were going to get pummeled in the pocket. There were times where I saw quarterbacks like just not move and then get back up and, all right, let's do it again. Jim McMahon must have gotten knocked out every game. Brett Favre, hundreds of concussions. Ben Roethlisberger.
Troy Aikman, Steve Young.
Troy Aikman, I don't think knew where he was throwing sometimes, but he just threw it up.
Every quarterback that Lawrence Taylor ever hit.
Oh, my God. But the things that I think are the optic problem, and it goes back to a couple seasons ago, and I'll explain. The first time we saw Tua go down with a concussion was ugly. What I mean by that, he got hit, he got up, and he crumbled. And that created oh my God. And that's not what and I hate saying this, I'm not trying to be insensitive or comedic, but I'd rather a guy out for 5 seconds, smelling salts, and then, whoo, okay. Then the next time was the fencing on national television, mind you. So there's that. And then the Green Bay game where he was shut down after that game, nothing was seen, but the concussion against the Bills on national television created. I have never seen the motion that he did a second and a half after he hit the floor and got hit. It was terrifying. Having said that, he's a human being who has worked his entire life to get to this position, and it is his decision. And every other factor, I get there are factors out there, but we as talking heads, all we can do is talk about it. And no one's right, no one's wrong, no one's insensitive, no one's too sensitive. We're speaking about something that has been unfairly thrown to the Dolphins and Tua. Because even if you want to go further, against the Jets, Teddy Bridgewater got sneezed on, and then he was put in concussion protocol the week after Tua had his concussion. So the league, the Dolphins, everyone, a spotter? Where's the concussion spotter now? Is there one? No, it's gone way like the Tuck rule, a one-timer. It's unfair, and this is what Tua is saying, without saying it. I understand what Tua is saying. Why is he the poster child? Unfortunately, Tua, it's because it's 2022, 2023, 2024. We got these things. We're on national television. We got opinions. When Dan Marino, when Brett Favre, when quarterbacks, Stan Humphries, when guys are getting laid out. I say him because I've seen him get laid out. I've seen quarterbacks get. Jay Cutler has been concussed so many times. Is it really curious to see how he's doing things now, unfortunately?
Thank you. Now I'm going to stop you because I've been thinking this the whole time. Is back in the days of Marino and Favre, we didn't know that they didn't know that 20 years from then, they were going to be a junior Seau, that things were going to happen in their brains that were going to make the rest of their lives absolutely horrifying sometimes. The problem for the people now is now we know too much. So not too much, but now we know this is what's going to happen to you if this continues to happen to you. And that makes the viewpoint different as well.
I agree wholeheartedly. And we're living in an age of social media where things are now stories, so we can read fun stuff about our teams that aren't stories. Like Tua and his family are great. Tua's kid, it surprised us. Now we're looking at Tua like a family man, like a dad, like he's got 2 new kids. Like we didn't look at these athletes before all this. And I'm not saying that other quarterbacks didn't have families to think about, but like optics.
We saw them on Sundays, and they were a machine out there for 3 hours, and that's what they did.
It is the fact that Josh Allen got knocked out the way he did, and it was just like, oh, cool. He just tweaked his shoulder. He's fine. No, he didn't. He got knocked the F out. And what's good for the goose has to be good for the gander. And that's not what's happening here. And that is why I think Tua was pissed off at the situation. I don't think he was salty for the sake of being salty.
I agree. I
think you're right. 2 things that I want to interject real quick.
Go ahead.
Number 1, take the face mask off and let them play without a face mask, and watch your head injuries go away. And secondly, if there's a poster child for concussions, it really should be Gus Frerotte. That knucklehead went and
oh my gosh,
headbutted the wall in Washington and gave himself a concussion. Make him the poster guy for this subject.
That was horrible. Let's go ahead and just move this along. Let's go to the keys of the game. Let's go through this pretty quickly. Steve, what do you think, with Tua coming back, what do you think the Dolphins need to do to win on Sunday?
I think that they need to play smart all too often. And somebody said that they think that Tua hears the detractors. I really do think that McDaniel and Tua hear what the public are saying, and they want to go out there and try to say, we're back. And they're going to just go out there and try going deep. And I think the Cardinals are going to expect that. I hope they don't. I hope they go out there and they run the ball, force them to say, we are going to play that play action, so it opens up the other stuff. You do that, it's going to play well. Defensively, they just simply have to find a way to keep Kyler Murray somewhat contained, because as he showed last night, he breaks a little bit of containment, and one of those wide receivers is going to get open. So I think that they have a chance to win, but I'm in really, truly prove me wrong mode with how Coach McDaniel's preparing the team and calling his game day plans.
Absolutely. How about you, Jason? What do the Dolphins in 22 do to win on Sunday?
I like the formula of rushing the ball 40 times, even with Tua. Now, I say this knowing that you have a lot of factors with an away team on a short week traveling cross country to a hot place in a home field advantage that is going to be rather strong, I believe, for Miami, from the timing, the weather, everyone's rooting for Tua to have a great game. So just by sheer intangibles, this to me seems like a game where if you, and I'm begging for this, you got to script the first series. And when I say script the first series, you have got to come up with your best 5 to 9 plays. You're not going one and done like last year. Last year, there were so many non-series plays, just 1 play, 2 plays. No, I don't want that. I want timely throws after setting up those passing options via the run. So you open up with a long 5 to 7 minute drive, and you make sure you get yourself, God forbid, 3, hopefully 7. And then this defense, I think, if they figure out Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not, scaring many people just yet. I think there's still development there.
He's a little disgruntled right now as well.
Disgruntled right now. This is a good time for a scrambling quarterback to try to do things on his own, but Weaver to be one step ahead and be like, you can run 10 times, but you only gain 20 yards. Like, I got you, as long as it's not on third down, picking up first downs. I don't care about yardage as long as he's not picking up consistent first downs on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 14. If they could figure out him, Kyler Murray, and rush the ball effectively, I don't think Tua needs to throw the ball 25 times or go 300 or have multiple touchdowns. I think he needs to move the chains, be that guy in that offense to get the ball to a slant on a hill, a quick little pass for Waddle. Go ahead, Sam.
That's the problem. That's a perfect game plan. What we don't know is Mike McDaniel has the maturity to basically do that, because he gets anxious. He just wants, he has the sports car and he wants to put the pedal to the metal and he crashes the car every single time.
I'm gonna bring up the degenerative gambling again, and this is no reason to believe that I'm a degenerate gambler. But if you're playing blackjack and you're doing well, great. If you start to get cute, splitting kings, don't split kings. You got the win. Don't double down against a king or a queen. Just hit. Don't get cute because you're doing well. It's like the hot hand fallacy. Oh, God. It's like the movie The Big Short. You see a guy shoot 5 3-pointers. He hits 5 in a row. I guarantee he's going to hit the next one. He's hot. No, you got to miss. Just do things simple. Simplify the offense. Make it so easy for you to pick up 5, 8, 9 yards. Don't go backwards. Don't run lateral. Go forward with the right people at the right time.
Punt when it's needed. Don't go for fourth down every single freaking time.
Yes.
Thank you. And this day and age, and then I'll hand the mic over to whomever wants to jump on in.
Sherry and then Matt, please.
I get that 55 yards should be a makeable field goal. I get it. And it should be these days. However, if you're
dicker the kicker, it is.
When you know your personnel and there's certain aspects that are iffy, sometimes kicking is better. Sometimes not going for it and punting is better because you have a good punter. Yeah, I know the special teams unit has been not good, but if you're playing against a team like the Colts, who your defense has been dominating, sometimes pinning them back at the 5 could be playing that, all right, not this possession, but next possession, I'm going to get 6 and then 1 instead of missing 3 and do the math.
During the game, they said that Jason Sanders is the most accurate kicker in Dolphins history. I almost flopped myself. Cherry, what are your thoughts on Tua and the Dolphins this Sunday against the Cardinals? What do the Dolphins need to do and what Tua needs to do?
I totally agree with what Jason's saying. We have to play the battle of field position occasionally rather than just saying, okay, we have resigned ourselves to the fact that if we don't get it, our defense will come out and we'll stop you and you're inside our own territory. No, battlefield position, absolutely. Not only if Kyler Murray breaks contain, are his receivers going to get open, but I saw him run over 40 yards last night on a break contain down the sideline where the backs are afraid to hit him because if they hit him close to the sideline, it's a penalty and he's not going out of bounds. He's going to skirt that sideline and he's going to score. So it's a matter of we've got to keep him in that pocket and try to prevent those situations where he's breaking contain and get penetration, bring more blitzes, but also on offense where you're saying make it more simple. I think one of the buzz phrases this year is eye candy. We have to stop that right now. It's not working. We don't need 27 people in motion at one time because guess what? They're not going to get set and it's going to be a procedure penalty. It's not working for us. So bring back the meat and potatoes football where we're pounding it, where we're setting up the play action. You start doing well and in the third quarter you want to try something cute, okay, fine, great, but let's get to that point where we say, wow, this game is well in hand and now we can try a couple things that we may need later against the Bills or the Jets. The Jets, are they a team? But I think keeping it simple, stupid, the kiss theory is the way it's got to be. I don't want Tua out there trying to remember 47 different things again. Let's just start at the beginning and work our way down the field. I agree with you, Jason. We got to just go back to the basics.
Simple. Keep it. Yep. It is that simple that before the motions, before even nuanced offenses, before the Wildcat, there simply was I formation, sweeps and dive, power football. And you know what? Every one of these coaches knows it. Every one of these players knows it. I would have no problem for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks while Tua's getting acclimated and assimilated back to normal. Play like a freaking really good high school team. Just run the ball, and when your quarterback has that opportunity to, hit your receivers, hit a tight end, take advantage of that opportunity when people are overplaying the run. Because you know what? It's not like it's in theory, and the Dolphins don't have the people to do that. They have 3 viable running backs if they're used properly throughout the course of the game in the right areas of the field. I'm very adamant about that. Extremely adamant about that.
And to go with back to your betting, gambling, the law of averages says they're going to break one. It's going to happen. Yes. They're going to get through, and Wright's going to have his big touchdown run. It's going to happen.
And just to piggyback off of that, Wright had that run that was called back for a penalty. So here's another thing. Stop with the formation shifts and the motions that could induce penalties. It's Absolutely. Like it's almost like, I'll give another basketball example. I played basketball. I could correlate things to what I did or what I've seen on the court because I never played football. I used to like college layups. You know what college layups are? You bang the backboard when you put the ball. Completely unnecessary. If I missed a layup on a college layup and my coach saw that, guess what? I was yanked out. I was yanked. There was a game or two where I wasn't put in the rest of the game. My point is, stop being so cute and sexy. Get the 2 points.
Yeah,
what's
Steve,
the worst that can happen?
So cute and sexy.
I mean, whatever. Steve, you take that.
No, Matt needs to take that now because he's sick.
Please, Matt, go ahead. Please, Matt, go ahead before we
that
go
was
to
bad.
the finish.
Bad wording there.
So I want to make sure I understand this. 2 things. Sarney wants you don't split kings. I got that.
Never.
And then he wants to have McDaniel come out in the wishbone and the veer. 45.
Hey man, that veer, it's like Novocaine. Like, remember the Titans. Keep it going, give it time. It always works.
Yep. I would not be surprised, number one. And number 2, I'm with you. Just run it.
Run it.
Short week for the Cardinals, cross country for the Cardinals. The last thing they want to do is take, one of my favorites is Marshawn Lynch, over and over and over. You have a backfield that, by committee if you need to. Having said all of that, I feel like Tua is going to go for 330 and we're going to rush for 150. So who knows?
My dad is going to crush the Porsche. He's going to press the Porsche. Before we go to the big finish, so many comments. I want to say I don't have time to read all the comments, but I appreciate everybody who make a comment. Let's go to
everybody for showing up.
Absolutely. Let's go to the big finish. We want to thank so many people who went to the live stream today on all platforms, especially on X. They were hardest working man on Dolphins Nation, Jason Sarney, at Jason Sarney, Jason_Sarney. You can find him with Marisa every Tuesday on Dolphins Talk, and on Thursdays with Zach Krantz, right, Jason?
Yep. Do lunchtimes with Zach and I, and look forward to that on Thursday. And Marissa's great. Thanks for the shout out. Enjoy doing the show with her as well.
I'll be at the game on Sunday. Hopefully, I'll see Jason over there at the meet grid. Let's go next to the FeastTV Top 5 Power Rankings. Well, the refs, the Chiefs are still at number one. It's getting rough. Hopefully, somebody finds a way. I was talking to someone this weekend that's very worried that the Chiefs are not going to lose the game the whole season. I'm confident they're going to lose the game, but the schedule is not like, it's pretty cupcake schedule. So hopefully, we need someone to take care of the Chiefs so we move forward.
Somebody will knock them off eventually.
It'll be who you least expect.
Yeah, that's what always happens. And
it's that law of averages. It's happened.
I was just going to say that.
Once.
Just one.
I can't wait for Jets week. The Jets have been so much fun this season. We'll talk about the Jets somewhere down the line. So let's go to the results of the FeastTV Pick and League.
I'm dropping.
Well, this week Pick and League. At number 10, Cyber Leaks, happy birthday to her. At number 9, Steve Hallett, back at the top 10. Jason Stanley, number 8. Bobby Finstad, number 7. Lou from there, number 6. Sean Stanley from the Big O Show, number 5. The Fintuber, number 4. Tifa, number 3. Adrian, number 2. And still number 1, Birda Fanatic. Well, Birda is still number 1. We're glad to see Steve Hallett back in the top 10. If you keep playing, like some of us that keep playing the whole year, no one wants to stop playing like someone I know, you might have to find yourself a way back to the top 10. So it's that easy. Congratulations to Steve. And
don't stop believing.
To be the fan. Well, again, I want to thank everyone. It's going to be, hopefully the Dolphins find a way to break back into the winning color. I want to again say thank to Jason Sarney. Shari Hallett, thank you for joining us. She's a regular now. She's part of the FeastTV crew now. The return of Mr. Perfect Man Armstrong, and of course my co-pilot, the best co-host in Dolphins Nation, Steve Hallett. So
very, very generous. No, I want to thank everybody for showing up. We had a very, very long, very packed show. Fun with Jeopardy and everything, but we do appreciate everybody showing up and commenting, interacting with us, following us. And if your state is doing it, I just want to say, go out there, do your civic duty. Go out and vote. This isn't a partisan thing. Go out and exercise your right to vote. And also, for God's sakes, be kind. Be kind to people, okay? Takes nothing to be kind.
Nothing less to be said. That's the best thing I can say. Hopefully, Jason, I'll see you this week. I'll see you on Saturday.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see everybody down there.
Absolutely. Let's get a huge win. As always, when you're talking Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Fins up.
Fins up, yo.
Fins up, everyone.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe. next week. Fins up.